am just so happy that this conference is finally taking place.
Church has to be relevant. It has to make sense.
I was really excited that I got the opportunity to come and voice my opinion.
Young people have a prophetic voice.
Start to find my voice in church a little bit.
I don't think I'm ever gonna forget this experience at all.
We are still a united church.
The Global Young People's Convocation is an opportunity to bring together young people from throughout the United Methodist Connection and give them time to get to know each other, celebrate, worship together, and they work together on legislation that can go to our General Conference to help shape the structural part of our church. This year's Global Convocation started off with a punch that we didn't expect. We ended up with young people having to be consolidated into meeting spaces in order to keep them safe during a major typhoon that came through Tagaytay, the place where we were meeting.
The typhoon came in as our participants were arriving. We had 35 different countries represented by over 300 people. And as you can see, it has thrown off our lodging and meeting plan. We've had gusts of wind to between 150 and 180 miles an hour. And you can probably hear some noise, and we're coming up on some of the dangling building materials from the top floor. I'm happy to report that we haven't had any typhoon-related injuries. Everyone is safe, even if they're a little bit wet.
So I am actually the one without a roof. That is my room. So apparently we were evacuated, and they made it pretty clear that we were not safe and that we should go down into the conference room so that we wouldn't get hit by any debris that was flying around. But people huddled pretty quickly together in community, which is awesome.
During that time, young people were praying together. They were teaching each other songs and dances. It was amazing to see what the very essence of Global Convocation was about started happening informally, even in the midst of this huge storm.
I have really good news. We're going to have supper at 5 o'clock, and then we'll all be boarding buses and going to a place called Island Cove, which is closer to Manila.
I think this event is important on several levels. One of them is especially in regard to the involvement of young people in the life of the United Methodist Church. But I think it's also important that we're developing leaders for the future in the way that it makes a difference in the world, because if we don't, we'll be in the same place with another group of people that said, when I was a teenager or a young adult, I was involved in things, but things haven't changed much. Wonder where the young people are.
If we want to be a church that is growing younger and reaching more people, especially young people, we need to pay attention to the thinking of young people.
I'm here because I want to see how God has impacted people across the globe, as well as across the aisle in various issues, and I want to be able to form relationships with people that I will be helping to lead the church with in the next few years.
I've already gotten very many new friends, and I'm having a good time talking about how things work in the United States, how things work in Africa, how things work in the Philippines and in Russia. It opens my mind to reason from out of the box. In that way, I feel I'm growing in spirit, in mind, and in body.
Often in the past, the ideas of young people would be greatly filtered. There would only be a handful of young people on boards and agencies, and it would be difficult for their points of view to come forward without being drastically changed by what the adults, older adults in the group felt were important.
The young people are learning a legislative process, and so they are introducing legislation through our process in United Methodist Church that helps then change the church. It's my hope, though, that as they're working on changing the church, that what they're ultimately going to do is change the world. What I think that would be helpful as we introduce legislation, as we develop legislation, that we would keep our mission, making disciples of Jesus Christ for the transformation of the world, in mind, so that what we do with legislation actually makes a difference.
I'm from the central U.S.
Me, I'm from DRC, Congo. I'm from here, Philippines.
We arrived to be in community with the Philippines, and then after the disaster realized that while we're visiting and they're hosting us, it's important to help them out. Global Young People's Convocation will all gather and help to sort through all of the individual ingredients and repack bags to give to people in the communities.
This is a gathering of leaders, and it's not an accident that they have encountered one of the strongest storms so far in the Philippines. You see, a leader rises up when there is crisis. And through that experience, I believe we can tell what kind of young generation, young leaders do we have.
Everything that was on the schedule we did. We even added a lunchtime conversation to process what happened during the typhoon, so young people had the opportunity at least to talk about some questions that helped them express what they were feeling and what they were thinking.
How's the day going so far?
We're having a good time with the legislations.
We're just having lunch, then we wait for the group photo.
How's it going?
Going well, having fun.
My guess is somewhere down the road, someday, somebody's going to say, I had an experience of God when I was in the Philippines in the midst of a typhoon, and my life changed, and they are a part of a ministry that's transforming the world. I'm convinced of that.
When I leave here, I hope to feel reassured that God's church in our world remains relevant, remains dynamic, and remains healthy. I want to have formed bonds of friendship that span time and international borders, and I want to be better prepared and better qualified to be a leader in the church and to serve God in our world.
As a young leader of the church, it's important for me to be part of the decisions of the church, because in that way, I know ministry would grow in my area. I represent millions of people, millions of young United Methodists from Africa, so my voice counts in any decision that would be made in the legislations assembly.
If nothing else, our faith is about being a part of each other. And so if we can move beyond this global convocation with a new understanding of what it means to be a part of the church, what it means to be a part of the body of Christ, then I think we've accomplished our goal.